Hey there, movie maniacs. Welcome to More Movies Weekly, number 50.
Right now we're showing 50 people missing, one bus.
That's right, 50 episodes deep. Who could believe it? This is the podcast where we like to talk about the movies we've been watching, film, cinema, news, all of that kind of thing. My name's Greg Fisher. His name is David Roberts. How are you doing, you big old legend?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad. And yourself?
I'm not too bad myself. All the better for seeing you, my old buddy.
Excellent.
This week we've been to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Let's get some. So yes, this week we have been out to the cinema to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm a little bit of a Marvel fan. Dave, not so much, but he comes along anyway because he's a good sport. We should also say, before we get into this too much, put up a little bit of a spoiler alert, although we try not to spoil the films too much by talking about them. There's bound to be stuff that'll come up. If you haven't seen this movie yet, you might want to skip forward to another chapter in this podcast or come back another time once you have seen the movie and visit with us then. We're easy. Come, go. It's all good.
Boom! Spoiler alert.
So this is a sequel to the original Doctor Strange film, which came out a few years ago. Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, in the lead role. We've also got Elizabeth Olsen in there, and quite a lot of cameo appearances from elsewhere in the MCU. And that doesn't necessarily restrict it to characters that have been featured recently. We do have some characters in there from old Marvel films.
Way beyond the yonder.
Like Professor X, you know what I mean?
Professor Charles Xavier?
Very funny.
So, yeah, I kind of like this sort of thing. I was looking forward to this one. We watched Spider-Man not long ago, No Way Home. That was obviously to do with the multiverse as well. They open up the multiverse, all kind of shit breaks loose. We get all sorts of Spider-Men all in one place, fighting the baddies from elsewhere. We talked about that on a podcast about a month or two ago. Obviously, I had Benedict Cumberbatch in there, and this is kind of like continuing that idea of now that the Pandora's out of the box, the multiverse is open, all sorts of crazy stuff can happen. I think this is the kind of movie I'm bound to enjoy anyway. But what about you? Like I say, you're not that crazy about superhero movies and Marvel and all this sort of stuff. It's a hard sell for you. What did you make of all this? Pray tell.
Pray tell. Yeah. It was interesting because, I hadn't seen the first Doctor Strange. But of course, I watched Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, and that kind of leads into this.
Yeah.
I've saw Spider-Man, of course, as we just mentioned, and that obviously leads into this. And I caught moments and bits of WandaVision, which leads into this as well. Not watched it properly, but I've seen bits of it, so I kind of got a vague understanding of somewhat what's going on there. It's an interesting idea, and there's elements of it which are tremendous fun, especially in action pieces and set pieces and stuff like that. As a whole, probably not amazing. It's fine. It's entertaining enough. But it did feel a little bit all over the shop in terms of the plot and the story. Maybe that's something to do with it being a multiverse. I don't know. But it did feel a little inconsistent plot-wise and character-wise. It was a bit like, what's going on now?
Yeah.
But in terms of action, if you're just going to, you want to eat some popcorn and watch some crazy stuff going on the screen, it's great for that.
Well, in terms of you usually are hard to please with these kind of things. That's not a bad thing, to have standards, to have a certain level of, taste when it comes to these kind of things. And so considering all that, I don't think Doctor Strange has done too badly with a chap like yourself, because as I say, you're not into this stuff. I've been reading like Doctor Strange comic books and everything since I was a wee bairn. And therefore, it's like I said, I kind of like it anyway. They'd have to do a really bad job of it for me to be going, oh, that was a really crappy film. Plus, this one was also directed by Sam Raimi, and he did the original 3 Spider-Man films, as most people will know. Obviously, before that, you've got great films from him. The Evil Dead films, obviously, is where he sort of started out. One of his great films I always really enjoyed was The Gift, with Kate Blanchett and Keanu Reeves. Check that out if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic. But yeah, I thought one thing he does really well is he's good at introducing an element of darkness. Yeah. And with this film, it was a lot darker than I was expecting. When the certification screen comes up just before the movie plays, it says at the bottom now something like mild peril and action, and it gives you a little sort of warning sign. It might contain these things, and this one said something like mild horror, and I thought, oh, that sounds quite good. For a Marvel film, because you don't expect too much blood and guts or gore or frights or spookiness. And this one, I thought it did quite a good job in terms of those sort of elements. And another thing that surprised me about it, again, spoiler alert, block your ears if you're still listening, you don't want it spoiled, but Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, played by Elizabeth Olsen, she's the bad guy of the whole bit. And before going to see it, I kind of avoided all spoilers, didn't know too much about it. We reacted to the trailer, but you only get so much from that. And it's like, okay. And then to find out she was the villain, and she's like, that character of the Scarlet Witch is like uber powerful as well. Even in the comic book lore and everything, she is just like, oh my God, this is somebody who can really flip you for real.
What are you saying?
I say he'll flip you.
He'll what?
Flip you. Flip you for real.
Yeah, I'm shaking.
And that was great. I thought, wow, that's an excellent element, because I thought she was going to be enlisted to be, Wanda, I need your help, because that's what it sort of leads you to believe in the trailer. And it was actually like, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to mess you up. It was like, I thought Elizabeth Olsen, for me, she was the best part in it. She really played it well. She brought quite a lot of emotion to it as well, considering it's comic book.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting. It was the bad guy. I kind of half knew that would be the case just from bits I'd seen of WandaVision in terms of actually she's like self-corrupting kind of thing. Yeah. So it kind of made sense. It's an interesting idea to have that. It's kind of like the personal element of it. Of I want this, and so I'll do anything to get this. Without trying to spoil it, but its best pieces were the fact that Sam Raimi was in it and directing it, and that the action set pieces, you say, there was that more gritty, gruesome element to it. You actually felt like. You can imagine. I can imagine watching something like Avengers, and you wouldn't get someone being chopped in half and the blood flying up the wall, kind of thing, in the way it's done here.
And if there is those kind of moments, like, for example, Thanos gets his head chopped off and stuff, but it's very few and far between. Yeah. And people get turned to ash and stuff, but it's not quite the same as, like you say, in this one. It was like people getting chopped in half, people's skulls exploding. Quite a lot of horror element. At one point, Doctor Strange even reanimates another Doctor Strange from another universe that's actually died. So he reanimates a dead body and becomes this sort of like, in a way, zombified, mummified Doctor Strange, and half his face missing. It was a little bit goofy, to be honest, but it was cool that they went there with it. They didn't try and sanitize it too much for the kids,
Yeah, that was it. I kind of felt like, they're actually going to do something now and not be like, we've got to make sure it's super PG, know. Yeah. It was like, no, actually try and do something without going too far. I get that you can't, we're not going to be turning this into Kill Bill, for Christ's sake.
Mommy, I'm home. Hey, baby. How was school?
Yeah. But it did something with it, and there was a few moments that made me jump, and they played with it and all the different ideas that were interesting. Yeah. I say, when it came to set pieces, the sequences were interesting. Yeah. And usually I get quite bored of the set pieces. I've watched some of the Marvel films and just sat there, I don't even know what's going on, because it's so fast and so frenetic. It's not directed well. Yeah. And it just becomes a bit of a clusterfuck, really. But in this, it held the attention. It was like, okay, there's logical steps going for the set pieces. Yeah. And I appreciated that. I thought, okay, this makes sense, this works. And there was a bit of a tension built throughout them, and thriller moments, like when she, at the beginning, she attacks the fort, the magical fort, whatever it's called, that you see from Shang-Chi. Yeah. it builds throughout that. Is she going to get in? Different stages of it, and it works really well. And that's like
it didn't go on too long either. It was a skirmish for 5 minutes, and then that's it. We're on to the next bit now.
But if they want an example of how do you construct a set piece for one of these kind of films, I'd say just look at that. That's how you do it.
This is why I think it was in good hands with Sam Raimi, because he knows what he's doing. He knows the world of Marvel. He's obviously been following it since he did the Spider-Man films. There's, on another aside there as well, there's because Tobey Maguire came back for Spider-Man No Way Home, and now Sam Raimi's been involved with the more recent MCU stuff with this film. There's loads of fans crying out for Spider-Man 4 because it never got made. So this whole multiverse thing, it does open up a whole lot of different marketing options for people, bringing back sort of like, we talked about the other week, Michael Keaton returning as Batman in the Batgirl thing and the Flash. So, I think if there's an audience for it, if there's, money to be made, they'll do it. They'll do it with these things. They'll start bringing people back because it's kind of reflects what the comics were about as well. You had the different versions of the same characters in different threads and multiverses and stuff. So,
yeah, the only thing is that we talked about this directly after the film. There's one major problem with the multiverse thing for me.
It can get messy.
But apart from it getting messy in terms of confusing and all those kind of things, which is kind of comes with it, there's also a problem as I know, if someone dies in the film, that emotional weight of them dying in the context of a multiverse is completely removed because you kind of just go, well,
they're alive somewhere else.
This version of them's dead. They can come back in the next film, and it just go, it's from Universe 76,003 or something. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter. And on an emotional level, when you're trying to build stakes in a film, I think that's true. Problematic.
You've got a point there. It's true, but it's also from a philosophical point of view. Like Einstein said, you've already been dead for 10,000 years, and you haven't even been born yet in terms of time's relativity. So, from that side of things, it's kind of like comforting. It's like, you might have just died by the hands of some evil witch, but in a way, you're still alive. In a way, you haven't even been born yet.
Wait a minute. What exactly would this mean?
But I thought it was pretty good. I'd give it a thumbs up, and I'd advise any Marvel fans to go and see it. They'll enjoy it.
They will. I think anyone who's a fan of it will enjoy it. For anyone else, it's fine. You can have some popcorn and watch it and switch off for a bit, and it's plenty enjoyable enough for the action.
I see some people saying, I haven't seen WandaVision and I haven't seen this and I haven't seen that. And I think you can watch this film without having seen all that, because I haven't seen all of WandaVision. And although I may get more from the film having seen these things, I don't think it's completely necessary. I think the film can't stand on its own. So I just wanted to make that point to some people. Say, I'm not going to watch it because I haven't seen all the other stuff. I don't really think it's essential. You're not going to miss out on a lot if you haven't.
You can pick it up.
At the end of the day, it's just a comic book film. You're only meant to go and open the pages and be dazzled by the spectacle and get taken on a little adventure and a journey. And then afterwards you can feel like, you went to a different multiverse and you had a good time. And now you're back to our boring old evil world.
Okay, so in some movie news, last week or maybe the week before, not too long ago, was CinemaCon. So this is like a annual gathering of all the kind of big movie distributors. They kind of get together, and all the cinema chains and DVD production companies and stuff like that, they all come along, industry people, and they
get
kind
pissed.
Get pissed, get some free cameo bags full of key rings and say, this is what we're coming up with this year, kind of thing, So they kind of put on a big show for them, as you'd expect, kind of industry stuff.
Whereabouts is that held? California?
It's in Las Vegas.
Oh, Nevada.
Of course.
I would have thought California, you see, with Hollywood and Los Angeles and stuff. Or at least like San Diego Comic-Con and stuff, isn't it? It's like California.
I think the people who work for these companies probably tell their wife they're going on a business meeting and then gambling in the pubs in Las Vegas, don't they?
Doing a bit of a Rain Man.
Rain Man? Yeah. Let's play some cards. Yeah.
So yeah, they all get together, and there's kind of I've got an article here just like summarising kind of what the studios have been showing off.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be good to just go through it.
Yeah,
because this will give us an idea of what's coming for the next 12 months.
What's ahead?
What's ahead for us? So we start with Sony. They kind of did a presentation. Their big story was about Spider-Man, about it being the third highest grossing movie in box office history.
Was that Spider-Man No Way Home?
No Way Home. That's a hell of a lot of money. They also mentioned Bullet Train, which we reacted to the trailer to.
I've since seen that. Oh, we both did because it was at the cinema. We've seen the more extensive trailer.
Yeah,
and that made me want to see it even more. I thought this looks quite a good fun movie.
Looks good, actually. Looks fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they also touted they've got a new historical action epic coming up with Viola Davis called
cool.
The Woman King.
Wow.
It's touted as a real-life version of Black Panther. Disney turned up. Disney doesn't really do much when they turn up to these things because
they don't have to.
Yeah. But they mentioned Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which we kind of know is coming up. This is where they dropped Avatar 2, which, of course, we've seen over the last couple of weeks. The photos and trailers that come out for that.
That'll be interesting to talk about when that does come around because, just to let the viewers or listeners know, I don't mind Avatar so much. I thought it was quite a good film. Dave can't stand it, so that should be a funny one.
Look forward to that, guys.
Yeah, you'll be ripping that one, Dave.
They showed off Doctor Strange, which we just talked about.
Sure.
They were showing off Lightyear, which of course is
interesting. Yeah,
just about to come out. Yes, I'm not so keen on this Lightyear, to be honest.
I'll give it a chance.
I think I'll end up watching it.
It's
but
a strange thing to do, but at the same time, it's kind of reflective of the Marvel stuff. It's like it's again a multiverse thing where it's like we've got this animated character that we're going to animate again, but he's actually playing what's supposed to be a human version, And
yeah, I hated Toy Story 4 as well, so
still haven't seen it. But I haven't seen it on the strength of what you told me about it and said it was rubbish. But I have spoke to other people who said they thought it was good, so I will see it at some point.
Where did you two come from?
Warner Brothers showed up. They had the biggest kind of package to show everyone, I guess. They started off with the announcement of the Batman 2. We kind of knew this was coming.
Yeah,
it's been touted a lot, but it's kind of official confirmation. Yeah, the Batman 2 will come. So that should be interesting. They then announced a new Barbie film with Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I've seen the image that came out for this.
So they've dropped a poster.
Isn't it directed by Greta Gerwig? So this that implies it's not going to be sort of like a Barbie film. It might be.
No, it's not going to be straightforward, is it?
Well, it might be. There might be some sort of like a critique underneath it all, which would be interesting. Yeah. The fact that it's Greta Gerwig, I would definitely be interested to see a Barbie film. I like Margot Robbie as well. She's a great actress. If you see her in some stuff like I, Tonya, she's a really good actress.
Yeah, she's really great, and I guess we'll see when the trailer comes out. That'll tell us what the approach is going to be.
I heard that the "I'm a Barbie girl" is not going to be featured in the film.
That's a shame.
Yeah, well,
they're talking of musicals. They also were obviously chops in lyrical about Timothée Chalamet's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory prequel, Wonka. We've mentioned this before on the podcast. That's coming out next year, I think. So they've been.
Is that going to be a musical? Is it?
Yeah, it's a musical film drama. I guess a bit like the original. Really.
Yeah, Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. Yeah, so. Yeah, they were selling that. They were also selling Elvis, which we, of course, reacted to the trailer to right here on the channel. That's coming up shortly. That's going to be their big film, I think, for this summer.
That's one I'm really looking forward to. I think a lot of people are, actually.
Yeah.
I'm quite astonished at how many people have sort of, rose to the surface on that one and said, we can't wait to see this film. Seems to be people of all ages. Obviously, the young generation that don't really know much about Elvis are interested in it because, you know, it looks great as a trailer and everything. And obviously, all the oldies as well are like, ooh.
Well, you may go to college, you may go to school, you may have a pink Cadillac, but don't you pick nobody's fool now, baby. Come back.
I think it has pulled people from everywhere, hasn't it, just to come check it out. They also showed some footage from the new Flash film. Which, of course, is going to have Michael Keaton in it. So that's
exciting.
Big.
I'm looking forward to that. I hope they do another film with Michael Keaton. He's another one that should get a third film. Get Tim Burton and Michael Keaton back together. There you go. If you could have, I know what you're going to say anyway, but if you could have Tim Burton and Michael Keaton do another Batman movie, or Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire do another Spider-Man movie, but you can only have one, what would you choose?
Batman.
Yeah. I would too, just on the strength that they only did two together, and they could get that third one. Yeah. Toby and Sam already had the third one, and they messed it up.
The third film that they always planned on doing and never got to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Then we had Universal show up. They were talking about the new Minions film, The Rise of Gru. I can't believe that franchise is still going.
I've never seen any of those.
I only ever saw the first one.
Despicable Me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looked really funny, but I just didn't get around to it.
They also were showing off Jurassic World Dominion, which we reacted to a few weeks back. It looks crap.
Wow.
They showed off the Puss in Boots sequel, which we reacted to, which looks funny.
Yeah.
And they were showing off Jordan Peele's new film, Nope.
Yeah, I do want to see that.
Looks really exciting, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah. I think it looks really good. He's done some great films as well so far, so looking forward to that. It's got Stephen Ewan in it. It's got Daniel Kaluuya. Looks like it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, Jordan Peele's got a great record. Get Out and Us, really great film. So excited to see what he comes up with next. He's one of the new crowd of great directors, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one to watch.
Paramount then showed up. Their big film, of course, is Top Gun Maverick, which is out shortly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mentioning Top Gun Maverick, I was reading earlier today that it's one of the best sequels that's been produced in years, apparently.
Yes. Well, I've got to say, you seen the trailer for it again when we went to the cinema the other night, and seeing some of those action sequences on the big screen, it is thrilling.
Yeah,
it does look amazing,
Looks the part,
and you get pulled into it with the planes going under the bridges and all the bits. And I know it's not for everyone, and some people find it a little bit like, but as a bit of popcorn fun to go and see on the big screen, sign me up, Cruise.
It could be the return of the blockbusters. So, yeah, they were showing off that. They also mentioned they've got a star-studded homage to Hollywood's golden era, Damien Chazelle's Babylon.
Oh.
Which could be interesting.
Yeah, I'd give that a go. Sounds interesting. Like film Hollywood history.
We'll see what they come up with.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be loads more films that do come along that we're going to love and be entertained by, but they're just obviously not making the headlines at CinemaCon, so...
Well, yeah,
seems
exactly.
a very industry-based kind of convention, doesn't it? Where, they're talking about the big stuff, the popcorn stuff.
Exactly. This is the sales pitch, isn't it? Put this in the thingy, and then the other films get tagged on underneath. Oh, because you bought this.
It's more about that than,
Of course.
Substance. Oh, well.
But there we go. That's some of the stuff that's going to be coming up.
So, Dave, this is our 50th weekly podcast. So that's pretty much a year's worth of weekly podcasting. Obviously, here and there, we've took a week or two off now and again, not very often though. So I think we've earned having a couple of weeks off after this one. So if you do follow us regularly and you don't see us have a weekly for a couple of weeks because we're putting our feet up, relaxing on the beach with a sangria, taking it easy.
We wish.
But we will return. But yeah, I mean, that's quite a lot of work behind us there. I mean, because obviously we don't just do the podcast each week. We've done a lot of reaction videos. We've done a lot of reviews. We've done a lot of articles on our website, moremovies.co.uk. They're all up there for you to check, along with everything else. That's the sort of hub if you wanted to see it. If you're finding us for the first time and you want an idea of everything we do, the website is the place to visit, because all these podcasts are up there. Everything else is up there. Obviously, the YouTube channel now, we've had over 500 subscribers, only just. Yeah! So that's nice. That's been a thing.
That's it, 50 episodes. I mean, we've covered 58 films in our weekly episodes over the time, which is a lot of films to watch through. We've done 49 film and 5 reviews as well alongside that.
Not bad.
And we've reacted to 66 trailers, as well as give you 27 top 5s personally selected by us. So it's a lot of stuff. And of course, we covered loads of news during our weekly shows, including talking about some of the films that are going to be coming up when we do return, and later on in the year, you know, things like Indiana Jones 5 and Killers of the Flower Moon and the Knives Out sequels. So when we come back, there's so much more that's exciting to come, isn't there? So
yeah, absolutely,
it's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. I just can't believe how much we have covered. It's not until you get to like a milestone like this and you look back and you think, geez, yeah, we've
done a lot of stuff.
We've covered a lot of stuff. I mean, you know, they're not all new movies. We like to look at older stuff as well. Dave and I were both like once way back when film students, so we kind of like the film study side of things as well, and appreciate a lot of the film history. So that's something I think, you know, it's nice to keep up with the latest stuff, but it's also nice to sort of take a trip into the past sometimes, isn't it?
This is what makes time travel possible. The flux capacitor.
It usually gets more interesting the more kind of off the beaten path you go, I think. And
yeah, definitely.
But I think the best, I think for me, my favourite film we've covered so far, the one that kind of surprised me and I enjoyed the most was Pig.
Pig was excellent, wasn't it?
I think out of everything we covered, that was the one that I was most like, wow.
It was just like that perfect, it was the perfect note of a film. It just sort of like, not too complicated, not too simple either, very understated. Didn't know what to expect, so was pleasantly surprised.
That was it. I think it was a surprise of it more than anything, of like what we expected it to be.
Yeah.
With it being a Nicolas Cage film, and what it ended up being was like poles apart.
We started this obviously in at the start of the pandemic, when we were sort of all housebound and we had nothing to do. Being media producers anyway, this was kind of like a good fit for us to sort of develop a bit of a podcast together. It's sort of evolved through time into what we're doing here on YouTube, but I think lately it's been nice to be able to get out again and go back to the theaters and enjoy films. We since say Christmas, we watched June, we watched Bond, we watched The French Dispatch, we watched Spider-Man, we've seen The Batman, we just watched Doctor Strange. You know, we've gone to see quite a lot of movies in the theater over the last 5-6 months, which has been nice to return to that.
It has, yeah, because for so long it was just like everything coming out on streaming platforms and stuff, and it was tied down to, which is nice in some ways because we got to watch lots of films, but it has been kind of very nice to get back and see particular films on big screen, you know, especially we talk films like Dune and James Bond. They're big screen films, aren't they? You can't not go and see them.
And also, when we went to see the Nick Cage film the other week, we were talking about The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and even though that's not necessarily a big screen film in the same way as those others are, but it was great to be, as we said at the time, you know, along with a packed audience, everybody laughing and having a good time. That feeling, that communal feeling, was really nice.
It was very enjoyable.
But yeah, 50 episode, we covered loads of great stuff. You know, from silly things like our 1-star Amazon film reviews back in the early days of this weekly.
They were good.
Week-long coverage of James Bond to celebrate the final outing.
Bond week, that was a good one. I enjoyed that.
Our top 5 Clint Eastwood coverage, talking about the great man himself. That was back when Cry Macho came out.
Which was not in the top 5.
No, not at all.
We did cover the film, but it wasn't top 5.
Eastwood. Clint Eastwood.
What kind of stupid name is that?
Yeah, we've met a lot of interesting people across all sorts of different social media platforms. I think I'd like to just go through a quick list, if that's all right, and thank a few people, because all these people have enriched our experience of doing this More Movies journey in one way or another, just by interacting with us, chatting with us, supporting us, liking our content, sharing our content, creating their own content, which informs ours and, points us in the right direction of some stuff we hadn't heard of before, all of that kind of thing. It's a big circle that just keeps on giving, and it's really nice. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank our patrons on Patreon, which would be Michelle, Shane, Chris, and Becky. We thank, there's only 4 of you, but God love yous. Thanks so much for supporting us on this journey along this far. Obviously, if you do join us on Patreon, you get a chance to vote on what kind of films we're going to be reviewing on our YouTube channel, and in some cases what we talk about here on the podcast. So thanks very much again to Michelle, Shane, Chris, and Becky for supporting us on Patreon. Thanks also to anyone who's ever donated to us on Buy Me a Coffee. There's lots of names there. I won't go through them all, but if you've ever supported us whatsoever, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. On Instagram, a few shout outs and a quick hello to Movie Miyagi, Katie from Pop in the Popcorn, Maria Lucibredo, There Will Be Movies, Double Deuce 89, Vitron Movies, McCready's Hat, Cinema 9 Podcast, Michael Mann, Roberto Fernando, Silent Clown Film Series, and Chris Leppert. Apologies if we missed anyone out there, but it's a great crew over there on Instagram. It's a great community. Thanks very much, everybody, for your support and love over there. On Twitter, which is one of our favorite platforms, we must thank the mighty Skip Bolden. If you're not following Skip Bolden, do you even love movies? I don't know. You got to follow Skip. He's a great guy. He loves his movies. He's one of the kindest, nicest people I've ever met online. Go follow Skip. But along with the mighty Grandmaster Skip Bolden, also like to thank Tico Romeo, another great profile for film lovers. Plus, let's get through this. Take a deep breath. Liam Jackson, Rosemarie, GR44, AB Movies Over Matter Productions, Sarah Palpatine, Jenny from the Block, Aaron Brown, Steve Reeves, Bernard Oliver, Used Robot Salesman, Cords Movie Fan, Deckard, Dave Hollingsworth, Venus Barrington, Jen B, Monica McCallan, Amy Koto, Collard Greens, Timotheus, Pop Culture Now, College Filmmakers, Zurabi, Crash Palace, Filmphonic, Gidget Von LaRue, Mike Zilla, Juliana Ball, Joe Coyne, Alfredo Golinda, and everybody else over on Twitter. Thanks very much for interacting with us last 2 years. We've had some great laughs there on Twitter with people. That brings me to my last section of thank yous for people right here on YouTube. There's also great content creators out there. You got to check out Cinema Cities, one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time. Fantastic. Also, Mr. Kurt Loves Movies, another great movies YouTube channel. We got Anthony at Fever Dreamland Theatre. Fantastic content there. The amazing Lenny Wanser, the continuing adventures of Lenny Wanser. Go and follow Lenny. He's fantastic. Jonathan at Man of Movies. Brilliant. Abigail at Manic Pixie Weirdo, D Movie Man, Effin Nerds, Ocean Chicks Flicks, Old as Fuck Reviewers, Jace Burns, Nick at The Distract, Jin at Get Me More, My Favorite, My Reality, Glenn Gare, Al Lookard, Mr. Bones, Brittany Rose Wright, Patrick at Have Cheetah Will View. You're all fantastic. Thanks so much for subscribing to us as well. We really enjoy your content. There's loads more people on there, probably too many to mention in one shot. If you feel like we should have given you a shout out and we haven't, get involved, give us a comment and say, hey, you missed us out, and we'll get you next time. We'll give you a shout out next time, no problem. But genuinely, thank you, everybody, because this kind of experience would be nothing without other people to interact with, to meet, to learn from, to have a good time with. It's a great party online. So thanks very much to everybody there.
That's it. It's a great community and loads of great people, and it's been great just chatting and bantering away with different people and finding about so much stuff.
Yeah.
It's been really, really great.
It's a really good community, really nice crowd of all the sort of different of all the sort of different sections of YouTube or Twitter or whatever, I find the film community people generally 99% such a nice crowd, really nice people. That's what you want. You just want to have a good time. You go to a party, you want to have a good vibe. And this is the place to do it. So there we go then, 50 episodes deep. Loads to check out on our channel here on YouTube. Join us on social media. We are at More Movies For You on most of the platforms. I don't think we are on Facebook, but hey, we don't really use it that much, so it doesn't really matter. We might be at More Movies For You too on Facebook, but hey, if you're a Facebooker, come and join us over there. For the rest of you, at More Movies For You, come say hello on Twitter. We've got a Discord server as well. If you want to come and have a live chat, there's links in the description below.
And if you want to support us, of course, we are over on buymeacoffee.com, where you can drop us some little coins there for us to buy a cappuccino and keep the lights on. Or you can join us over on Patreon, of course, as we mentioned earlier, where you can subscribe to one of the packages and vote for films we will be watching or reviewing right here on the channel.
So that's it from us for this week. We will return in a couple of weeks' time, but don't forget to subscribe here to the channel, give us a like, drop a comment, get to know us. It'd be wonderful to meet you, see what you're up to on this platform. Thanks very much if you're an audio-only listener. Just to let you know as well, you can listen to us audio only. That's on all the usual ones, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. We're on there. There's a link again in the description below. But there we go, Dave. 50 deep. Any last thoughts before we say adieu?
Well, it's just, we've met half a century. There's another half a century to go, and I can't wait to get stuck in again when we do come back.
Nicolas Cage. Well, that's it for this video. Please leave us a comment and let us know what you thought. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe right here on YouTube. To check out more of our articles and reviews, check out our website, moremovies.co.uk. And why not join us on social media? That's at More Movies For You across the board. You know the score. And if you'd like to support us, consider buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com, or you can become a More Movies patron over on patreon.com. All the links are in the description below. And to check out more of our filmtastic videos, click one of the buttons on screen now.